Hello everyone, it's Danny here, and it's finally time again at the Disneyland Resort. It's Halloween time, and with it, the return of Oogie Boogie Bash over at Disney California Adventure Park, a Halloween party. So I actually had a chance to go on opening night of Oogie Boogie Bash this year, and I wanted to talk about my experience and also share with you my best advice on what to do for Oogie Boogie Bash for those of you that are maybe watching this video, have an upcoming date, or maybe you weren't able to secure a ticket this year and you want to just see what it was all about. Oogie Boogie Bash is definitely a very in-demand Halloween party. As you know, this year's event sold out within days of it going on sale, so it's definitely not lost its popularity. But let's go over all the different things in the party, what you can expect, and like I mentioned, the best advice for you to take advantage of your evening. So for the 2023 Halloween season, Disneyland Resort is offering Oogie Boogie Bash on select nights starting September 5th, going all the way through October 31st, Halloween Day. Now the party starts officially at 6 p.m. each night and goes all the way until 11 p.m. on the days that it's being offered. Now this is a 5-hour period for you to maximize your time and maximize the most amount of fun you're going to have that evening. However, every party ticket does grant you access to Disney California Adventure Park 3 hours before the event begins. So you can access Disney California Adventure Park as early as 3 p.m. And this is my biggest and first recommendation, is to arrive at Disney California Adventure Park, if possible, sometime in that early entry period. Now, if you could arrive between 3 and 4 p.m., this would be the best recommendation, but I know not everyone can get to the park that early, especially if you're coming on a weekday and coming maybe after school or after work and you have plans, etc. So my biggest recommendation, like I mentioned, is to come during this time period whenever you can. Now, the biggest benefit to arriving during the mix-in period is the fact that there are shorter waits to enter the event itself. If you arrive at or just before the time the event is about to start, you're going to encounter long lines at parking, long lines at security, and long lines to get into the main entrance of the event. If you arrive during this early entry period, you're going to find minimal to no waits at all, walk right into Disney California Adventure Park, get your wristband, get your treat bag, and get started on planning the rest of your evening. One of the most popular offerings starting last year and continuing this year was the debut of the Sanderson sisters, aka Minnie Mouse, Clarabelle Cow, and Daisy Duck, all dressed up as the Sanderson sisters, which is exclusive to Oogie Boogie Bash here at the Disneyland Resort. And this still commanded a very, very long line on opening night, and this will probably continue for all the remaining Oogie Boogie Bash parties, as people have still not had a chance to see them in person just quite yet. Now, you don't want to waste your precious party time waiting in line for these characters when you can jump into the line and experience a much shorter wait before the event actually begins. Now, they allow you to queue up for these Sanderson sisters, hey, as early as 3 p.m. if you want to, but I don't recommend wasting all your time doing that. You can jump in a little bit before 6 p.m., get a head start on that queue so that you're spending a majority of your time waiting in line before the party actually begins. So at 6 p.m. when the characters come out, you're only waiting about 30 to 50 minutes rather than over an hour later on in the party when your time is more important. So it's after 6 p.m., the event has already begun, and the biggest question I always get is, when should I watch the Frightfully Fun Parade? Each event night is going to have the same 2 parade showtimes, the first one being at 7:50 p.m. and the second being at 10:05 p.m. Now, the first parade showing is going to be kicking off over in Hollywoodland next to Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, and the last parade showing of the evening is going to be kicking off in Pixar Pier, going the opposite direction, starting from the adjacent location to Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta. So when you're planning to stake out your spots at each respective parade showtime, keep that in mind. Now, my answer to the question of which parade showtime you should watch, as far as my recommendation goes, is going to be the second parade showtime. And the reason for this is that most younger kids or families with younger kids can't always make it to the second parade showtime. And then also, the second parade showtime is in the last hour of the event. And some people, just in general, whether they have kids or not, can't make it to that final hour and decided to call it quits a little bit early. So you're going to generally find a less crowded parade route and more spaces to watch the parade. However, if you're choosing to watch the first one, it's not the end all be all, it's not the worst decision. Just make sure that you're watching it closest as you can to where the parade kicks off, no matter the showtime. You're going to want to make sure that you're right there where the parade kicks off so that as soon as the last float goes by, you can get out of there and start enjoying more of the evening. If you start watching the parade at the opposite end of where it actually kicks off, you're going to be wasting an additional 20 to 30 minutes just for the parade to arrive to you, and then have to also wait for the rest of the parade to finish before you can leave the area, giving yourself 30 to 40 minutes of a disadvantage over the guests that watched it at the beginning of the parade. Now, every new Halloween season, Disneyland Resort brings brand new villains to Oogie Boogie Bash for their immersive treat trails, which are one of the main draws of the event every single year. And this year we had 2 brand new villains with their brand new immersive treat trails to go along with them. The first being Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit, or Who Framed Roger Rabbit, over by Soarin' over California in the Grizzly Peak Airfield area. And then we also had Yokai from Big Hero 6 over in San Francisco Square in the same location that you would meet Baymax and Hito during the day. Now, I get a lot of questions on which ones to tackle first, where to go to first, how can I see them all. I still think it's pretty easy to see every single villain on every individual treat trail. The lines may look deceivingly long, but the key factor here is they never stop moving. Every interaction in front of the villains on the immersive treat trails is not a normal character meet and greet interaction. Guests are not stopping to take photos and speak with the characters. They're being asked to move quickly, maybe take a photo for a few seconds, and then continue on. So the line continues to move, and it should be no problem for you to be able to see every single villain in all the immersive treat trails. However, you can save a little bit of time if you do avoid the brand new villains first thing in the evening. A lot of people are going to want to see them first, so go ahead and head to the other villains that have maybe been at Oogie Boogie Bash for a few years, so that you're letting the crowds who want to see the new villains right away see them, and then make the crowds a little bit less for you throughout the evening. Now, the longest line I actually experienced during my event was actually for Sid over in Pixar Pier. Now, Sid is a returning character. However, he's a really popular one and has a lot of really lengthy interactions with the guests as he has conversations with them. Usually he's making fun of them. So it just really adds to the experience, and this brought back to his popularity year after year. So definitely don't assume that only the new ones are going to have the longest lines, because like I mentioned, Sid did feel like it was the longest of the evening. The next big question I always get is about dining. Where should I eat and when should I eat? Now, I answered a little bit of this in the first question about arriving to the party during the mix-in period. Now, you can definitely use that 3-hour mix-in period to get things like eating your dinner early and out of the way. Especially with young kids, this might be the best option. However, if you're looking for specific food that's exclusive to the event, they're not going to start serving that until 6 p.m. And I specifically wanted to try something that was on an exclusive list. Over at the PIM Test Kitchen and Avengers Campus, they were actually offering a special event-only item that started at 6 p.m. So I actually had to make it a point to carve out time to visit that location during the party. Now, this special item was called the Combustible Components Pizza, and it was a colossal sized pizza slice with red pepper pesto, mozzarella cheese, cheddar cheese, portobello and button mushrooms, hot link sausage, pepperoni, and Italian sausage with a side of arugula salad. Now, PIM Test Kitchen has never offered pizza before, so I knew I had to try it. Now, this pizza slice definitely lived up to its description, being colossal sized, because it was indeed a shareable option for at least 2 people, especially with the arugula salad on the side. I give this at least a 9 out of 10, and I'm super bummed that PIM Test Kitchen doesn't offer a pizza on the regular, because I really enjoyed this item, and I highly recommend that you make it a point to try this on your visit to Oogie Boogie Bash. Next up, I wanted to talk about rides and attractions, not something that a lot of people talk about when covering Oogie Boogie Bash, but it's really important because a lot of people actually choose to come to After Dark events like these because they want to experience shorter waits for attractions. While everyone else is focused on immersive treat trails, character experiences, parades, some people just want to come dressed up, maybe visit a few treat trails for some candy, get some exclusive food, and more importantly, ride these really popular rides inside Disney California Adventure Park with minimal waits. And in fact, minimal waits are what you can expect when visiting during Oogie Boogie Bash. The event is a lower capacity than what you'd normally see on a regular operating day at Disney California Adventure Park, so most of the time I encountered zero waits where I was able to walk directly onto an attraction, and other times very short waits like 5 to 10 minutes, especially for Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure attraction, which usually garners a much longer line. And lastly, I wanted to talk about Villains Grove, which is the immersive walkthrough experience over in Disney California Adventure's Redwood Creek Challenge Trail. Now, this is something completely exclusive to Oogie Boogie Bash, and if you've never seen it before, you definitely have to make it a point to visit this attraction during your event evening. Now, this is something that typically has a 30+ wait throughout most of the evening, with a few exceptions, and I wanted to talk about those and also my best recommendation for a lot of the questions I get asked about this particular experience. Now, I get a lot of questions about Villains Grove, like when's the best time to experience this attraction, or when can I find the shortest amount of waits for this, since they all see tons of pictures and videos of this attraction in the past and in current years having long waits throughout the evening and something people post about. However, there's no real clear answer to this question, so I'll kind of lay out the pros and cons of either so that you can decide what's best for you and your evening when making your plans. Now, experiencing this attraction earlier in the evening just after the party begins is definitely going to bring you the least amount of wait. However, keep in mind, this attraction is completely centered around lights, projections, lasers, and fog, all of which are enhanced when it's darker in the evening. So sure, you will experience lighter wait times. However, the experience itself may not be as effective or as immersive as it would be later in the day. Now, if you go later in the day, you're going to probably experience 30+ minute waits throughout the evening, and maybe even longer than that just after the second parade. However, keep in mind, closer to the end of the night, which is when I usually experience the attraction, you might see longer waits when the parade ends. However, once you're in that final hour, there's not too much left to do at that point, and as long as you're in the queue for Villains Grove, the cast members will allow you to experience the Villains Grove walkthrough experience even after the party has subsided. Waiting to experience Villains Grove towards the end of the evening really allows those major crowds that were watching that final parade showing to thin out and leave the event while you wait to experience Villains Grove and then exit out yourself to a much less crowded Buena Vista Street for those final shots of a less crowded area in front of Carthay Circle and also over by the Headless Horseman before you exit the event yourself. It might also allow for shorter wait times to get to the parking areas as those guests may have already departed. In the end, I hope you were able to take away some tips, some tricks from watching my experience at Oogie Boogie Bash on opening night, and I hope you're able to implement them to let you to get the most out of your experience on the night that you're going. And if you weren't able to get a ticket for the event, maybe this showed you an overall experience of what you can expect when you try to get tickets for next year. Granted, Disney does bring back this event. As we know, the event has been in Disneyland in the past, so we never know what Disney has up its sleeve, but for now, Oogie Boogie Bash is an overall really fun Halloween event, and if you have tickets for it this year, you're looking forward to a really great overall experience with lots of things to do throughout the entire evening. If you haven't already taken a moment to like this video, hit that like button below, as it really helps the video be seen by other people who may not already be subscribed to the channel, and it might help someone who's planning their upcoming visit to Oogie Boogie Bash. And also, make sure to leave a comment below. Let me know what you're able to take away from this video, and also maybe what you're looking forward to the most when you visit during Oogie Boogie Bash. But thanks again so much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, as there's a lot more content coming coming out, especially about what's new and what's happening at the Disneyland Resort. So until next time, happy Halloween, everyone!